Hello everyone, greetings of the day and greetings of the night. Since people from various pockets of the world are going to watch this video, please feel free to suit yourselves accordingly. My name is Hindeep Purohit. I recently earned a bachelor's degree in computer engineering and I've written this paper under the guidance of my professor Raviraj Singh Waghela. Thanks a ton to you, sir, for assisting me with my research endeavors, and of course, the team at ICT4SD for providing that wonderful platform where we were able to disseminate our research work at a global scale. I'm elated to announce that this paper has been presented at ICT4SD. The conference was supposed to be held at Goa, but it shifted to online platform Zoom due to the ongoing pandemic. The proceedings of this conference will be published in the AISC series by Springer Nature within the next 4 to 5 months. Now, without much tangential discussion, let's cut right to the chase. Our world revolves around cloud computing. It has almost become a trend du jour. With the widespread availability of fast and reliable internet connection. Oh wait, what did I just say? Fast and reliable? As an aside, it's just an irony in the context of India. Just today, I wouldn't have been able to attend this international conference as both broadband and mobile data connection had failed me. But again, let's leave the exceptions at bay. So, with the widespread availability of fast and reliable internet connection, the traditional computing model has shifted to the cloud. The cloud offers many benefits over the in-house solutions. For one, it's cheap. You pay only for the services you use. Plus, there is no binding contract. You can cancel at any time. The entire responsibility of handling the infrastructure can be delegated to the cloud service provider. Clouds are highly scalable and always available entities. In short, this is a hassle-free on-demand service and it's gaining a lot of traction these days. However, the grim reality is that the world isn't all sunshine and roses. The malefactors have scourged the cloud in innumerable ways. One of the most glaring threats that cloud users face today is the protection of their data. In a multi-tenant environment, VM escape, although a very rare possibility, could lead to unauthorized access to confidential data. Cloud services are usually served through web applications, which are again inherently plagued by vulnerabilities. So when all these glitches are put together, they compromise the data stored in the cloud. And the story doesn't end there. Even after deletion, the data may still persist if it hasn't been wiped off securely. In the similar vein, there are endless other issues associated with the cloud. However, when the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, we must pave out a way to mitigate the deleterious effects of the drawbacks that we have identified. So, out of the very many issues that haunt the cloud, we chose to dedicate our undivided attention to securing data in the cloud. During the literature review phase, we sifted through a legion of papers that were published during the past couple of years, and to be specific, the past 6 years. We then qualified the scope of our research to the open problems in key management. Now, I'll briefly summarize the existing key management solutions and point out their shortcomings. After that, I'll propose a robust model that is immune to the identified issues. Encryption. Encryption, as we all know it, is a tried and tested method to prevent unauthorized people from gaining access to confidential data. The key used to encrypt data is stored in the cloud itself. But then doing this defeats the whole purpose of encryption, as the cloud service provider would have access to the key. Now, to combat this, H.A. Jagir, please pardon my pronunciation, proposed a sealed cloud approach where the key remains with the data owner. This will work as long as the user doesn't have to manipulate data inside the cloud, which again is a rare possibility. Also, the key is a single point of failure. If the data owner loses access to the key, there's no way to recover the data. So from a practical stance, I would consider that this model isn't a viable option. Another alternative is to use a key management software which is developed by experts who have years of experience building such softwares. Key generation, distribution, destruction, everything is handled by the KMS server. But the downside to using KMS is the computational overhead incurred. Data manipulation would require decryption followed by re-encryption. We need to devise techniques that minimize this overhead. So towards this end, IINDU has proposed TTP. TTP stands for Trusted Third Party. It's a KMS server that generates public and private keys. Data is encrypted using the RSA algorithm, and the keys are securely erased from the TTP once the encryption process is complete. So users who wish to access the encrypted files are authenticated by the TTP and public keys regenerated before decrypting the data. But all these previous attempts have been myopic. In addressing one issue, they inadvertently introduce another. For instance, TTP does overcome the disadvantages of the sealed crowd approach, but its lackluster performance inhibits its practical utility. So let's have a look at the methods that can be used to boost TTP's performance. First up on the list is data classification. Data classification was first proposed by Lo Tolbe. It segregates data into three different categories according to the level of confidentiality. Instead of encrypting the entire dataset using the same key length, variable key sizes are used to encrypt data. So basic confidentiality data is encrypted with the lowest key size, whereas high confidentiality data would be encrypted with the largest key size. This does greatly reduce the computational overhead, as low confidentiality data need not be encrypted with large key sizes. Next comes ECC. Elliptic curve cryptography's key generation time is up to 1,000 times faster than that of RSA, as per the publication by S. Arun. Manuel Soros has pointed out that the key sizes for ECC are much smaller than that for RSA, considering comparable levels of security. Now, putting all these pieces together, I'll propose a new model that pledges to incorporate the goodies from all the previous efforts that we have discussed up to this point. To improve the efficiency, we'll use the data classification model. We divide the given data into three different categories and then encrypt those with variable key sizes. We use TTP, a KMS server, to orchestrate key generation, distribution, destruction, and we also use that server to authenticate and authorize the users who want access to the data. But here comes a slight twist. We employ ECC algorithm in lieu of RSA, as it is much faster than RSA and yet provides a similar level of confidentiality, so that's not an issue. The encrypted file is uploaded to the server and the link to the file is shared with the end user who wants to access the data. The data owner then must grant specific users the permission to access that file. The user is then authenticated by the TTP, and if the file access permission has been granted, the TTP regenerates the public key, downloads the file, and then decrypts it. Now it's about time to recapitulate everything that we have discussed so far. This is the flow diagram of the process I just described in the previous slide. Now, let's move on to the concluding remarks. TTP is seriously worth its salt, but only if it were performant enough. So our model modifies existing TTP server to use ECC in place of RSA. We also utilize data classification to achieve even higher levels of performance. Our model is versatile in that it can be used to secure not just data inside the cloud, but also in the local storage as well as network attached storage. All of the underlying methods that we have talked about are storage agnostic, so they can be used pretty much anywhere. As you can see, the model we are proposing is highly performant, secure, and supple. I hope you found this presentation informative. I'll add the link to the published paper in the description section of this video. Thank you so much for sparing your valuable time and listening to me.